Hello, good evening, Nigerians and well wishers of Nigeria and those who are wishing Nigeria good wherever you are. We are happy to be here once again this evening. Unfortunately, a night with heavy burden and pain in our hearts because of our beloved country, Nigeria. Apparently, INEC, INEC seem not to have learned any lesson at all, or should I rather say, INEC is still doubling down in their plans to keep on derailing Nigeria's democracy. Tomorrow is going to be a very big day in Nigeria. Election, off-cycle election, governorship election is coming in 3 states: Imo State, Bayelsa State, and Kogi State. And from the look of things, all of them have ganged up against Nigeria to give us an idea of what we might expect, except we, the Nigerian people, rise up to the occasion and say, it will not go according to your plan. How do I mean? Even before this election, using what happened in the presidential election judgments that went up to the Supreme Court, and that of the governorship elections that are still at the level of the appeal court so far, it is obvious that the judiciary has killed, or better still, demobilize or weaken this electoral process by taking away all the checks that would have given our election any semblance of credibility. They have automatically killed the Electoral Act with respect to the what we call the chain of custody that has to do with when you cast your vote, how your votes are protected until the result is declared. The court, the judiciary, the Supreme Court has killed IREV, killed Beavers, killed all the collation process. And that is a very big warning signal to Nigeria. Secondly, the INEC themselves have come to also give an idea on how to destroy democracy by saying, oh, if we don't like what you do, we will just not count your election. Like if there is a riot, if there is a violence. They can't even quote the Electoral Act that says if there is anything that didn't go well the way it should go in a polling unit or in an area, that election will be cancelled and held the next day. INEC just made a blanket order, we will not count. And the political parties themselves, the like of APC under Hope Uzodimma in Imo State, they are mobilizing. You know, INEC have now told them, this is what you people will do so that the vote of your opponent will not count in their areas. And the courts, of course, you people can see that a man like Hope Uzodimma is the darling of the Supreme Court. Anything he wants, Supreme Court will give him. Yes, I have never seen a man where the Supreme Court of Nigeria will so compromise themselves to protect, like in the case of Hope Uzodimma and the current president. And so, what are we talking? They are compromising themselves, they are destroying our democracy, they are killing our constitution, they are setting up precedents. The INEC of Mahmoud in 2023 is worse than the INEC of Maurice Iwu in 2007. If you're a Nigerian and you know the kind of atrocities that happened under Maurice Iwu in 2007 and 2003, then that was the golden days of INEC. And this night, we're going to be elaborating on these areas and tell us that we need God tomorrow and we need you Nigerians wherever you are to stand up and challenge this evil so that we can get to where Nigeria should be by God's help. Thank you so much. I hand over to Ifeoma for our opening statement, and then we go with what we have today. Thank you.
Doc, thank you very much. Yes, so guys, welcome to this live session. We are happy to have you here. Tomorrow is an important day, especially for those in Imo State, Kogi, and Bayelsa. And we want to use this opportunity to ask them, those of them in these states, to go out and cast their votes. But I must say that it's a bit worrisome the way things have gone, for some time now since the 2023 February election. the Supreme Court has come out to rule, and from their ruling, it appears the IREF is now of no significance. The beavers does not mean anything anymore. And to compound all this, INEC has come out to say areas where there will be violence, that they are not going to count the votes, meaning that the votes casted in those areas will not be of any relevance. And that is really worrisome, meaning that these politicians who are desperate, they might want to cause confusion in areas they feel they are losing, and that would now be in their own advantage. Don't forget that some of them, especially those who are currently in office, the ruling party, they want to use their influence over our court system, I mean the judiciary and all that, to regain their mandate or to uphold whatever victory they are going to get. So it's a bit worrisome looking at what is happening, and INEC is not helping out issues. For them to have come out to say, oh, areas where there will be any problem, we are not going to count the vote, it means that the INEC is just empowering some of these politicians. They may just use their talks to cause commotion in some certain areas, and at the end of the day, the votes, counted in those areas will be of no meaning to the people. So it's really a bit worrisome. We know that coming out during election is not an easy task. You are really risking your life, and anything can happen to you. So for them to tell us that if people should take that risk and come out, and at the end of the day, their votes will not make sense, I think it's a bit worrisome. And you can look at the image I have here on my screen. That is the INEC chairman standing in front of the people, wasting their time, not really giving them clarity as to giving them the right direction on what to do or the right instruction. And you can see what is written in that circle there. It says, should we take the risk at the polls or just go to court? So people are like asking if they should even come out to vote, or they should just wait, because it is always in the hands of the judiciary to tell us who our leaders are. They don't allow the votes of the people to count. With the person of Mahmoud as the INEC chairman, the people's confidence has been eroded. People don't trust INEC anymore. So they are worried if they should even take the risk to come out to cast their vote, or they should just allow the judiciary to do its thing, in a normal Nigerian way. So this is what we are just saying, that honestly, this is not looking good. And don't forget that a place like Imo State is a no-go area, because we have a governor who wants to come back to power at all cost, even though he knows he has not performed. The Imo people have not benefited from his government, but he just wants to come back at all costs. So, Doug, before I allow you come back, I just wanted to talk about this image. There was this video that was circulating today on the internet, bearing the logo and the handle of TVC. So that it's a video. That video was talking about the PDP candidate that he has decided to merge with the APC candidate, Governor Hope Uzodimma. But the TVC has come out to debunk that. We don't know how that happened, because it was having their logo and all that, and the PDP governorship candidate has equally come out to debunk that video, that he is not going to succumb. He's still in the race, but it's very, very worrisome that such a video will emanate. Possibly there is a gap somewhere. So I just want to bring that to our notice, because so many people saw that video circulating on Twitter, that the PDP candidate has decided to merge. Even when I saw it, it was a bit, worrisome, because I felt, oh, how can the PDP go to merge with Hope Uzodimma instead of looking for maybe the Labour Party or any other party that can bring the dividends of democracy to the people, instead of going to Hope Uzodimma, who we don't even know his next plan. So, Doc, back to you. I just hope that this election, that the more people will come out and decide who becomes their leader after tomorrow.
I thank you. I am not concerned about Imo people or even Bayelsa people or Kogi people. But let's just focus attention on Imo, because Imo is like a model of a plot. It's like everything INEC, the judiciary, the government in place have in their bag to mess up with our political process. It is in the Imo that they want to unleash all of them. We are going into an election tomorrow whereby the resident electoral commissioner of Imo State was someone who was handpicked by the sitting governor. And the whole nation were crying. Buhari still sent her to Imo State. Up until this week, the whole nation crying, the other political parties in the equation, that is the stakeholders, except APC, the other political parties are saying, this woman is not a fair judge. Remove her to increase our confidence. The sitting president, on whose shoulders it is to choose to remove or not to remove, didn't even bother to say, hello, people. That is to tell us the umpire of tomorrow, the category, the caliber, the mindset. TVC is a media house that is owned by the president. Whenever you hear a news that is anti-Nigeria and democracy, it's going to pop up first, either by TVC or The Nation. Sometime ending of last week, there was a news report that came out that a high court sitting in Abuja gave judgment in favor of Enugu State governor against NYSC, telling NYSC that they issued a certificate they denied they did not issue, and mandated NYSC to pay the man 5 million naira damage. Is it 5 million or 50 million? I can't remember. A body like INEC, like WAEC, which according to law came and said, the certificate you people are this man you're carrying, we did not issue it. The court says, Iro, you issued it. That is a new precedent in Nigerian jurisprudence. Do you know the media house that carried it first? The Nation newspaper. That's to tell you that APC is not just fighting, they are against any judgment that comes against any person, especially against Labour Party. They are happy to break it. And today, the appeal court sitting in Lagos upheld the judgment of the tribunal, which states that NYSC, whether you like it or you don't like it, the certificate this man is parading, you issued it. Let's keep it by the side. Let's come back to Imo State. That is the judiciary we have in Nigeria today. It is in the Imo State that we heard this week that INEC, when they were having a stakeholder meeting with the political parties and other stakeholders, the INEC official told the media house people to switch off their camera. Why? What was it they were planning to do? This week, it is same Imo State where election will be held tomorrow, that INEC is saying if there is a violence anywhere, we will not count election. Whereas the police were in Imo State having a meeting and hobnobbing with the governor. So they're going to deploy the law enforcement officers in favor of the governor. The governor will move around with the police and determine where peace will be held and where violence will be held, which means technically where election result will be counted and where it will not be counted. These are the preparations of INEC. And given that the judiciary have now taken away the bone out of the skeleton of the structure of the Electoral Act, it means that what they are saying is, hey, Hope Uzodimma and APC, whatever you like, do it. It's like a relay. In this relay, we have APC and Hope Uzodimma as part of the people in the line. we have the law enforcement agencies, we have INEC, we have the judiciary. So the judiciary is saying we are going to be the last people. Even if for any reason you people delay, just get us the baton. As long as it enters our hand, we will make sure we deliver for you. That is what Nigerians are up against. So it is not about mobilizing to come out, because people mobilized to come out in Rivers State during the presidential election and the governorship election, and the sitting governor determined where the election will be held and where it will not be held, and used police and law enforcement agencies to scatter everything. The same thing happened in Lagos. So is INEC trying to tell us that if Lagos or Rivers State repeats itself tomorrow, that they will throw away those places? Or what? Meanwhile, what did the Electoral Act say? Electoral Act says that in the event that any occasion arises whereby there is overvoting or violence or non-arrival of electoral material, the election did not hold, that that place will be cancelled and a fresh election conducted. Why didn't INEC come to say, if you people have violence for 10 times, we will conduct the election for 10 times? Will that not give confidence to the people? So it is giving me concern that it looks like the odd is stacked against the people again. And it is this same hope, Uzodimma and Imo State, that the Judiciary, Supreme Court, had a judgment saying that in 2019, APC did not have any candidate. Until date, the same Supreme Court allowed APC that did not participate in an election to govern for 4 years. People went back to them, PDP, and said, this is your judgment, enforce it. They adjourned it indefinitely. They had now adjourned it for 4 years plus. That's the judiciary for you. And when the likes of Inyang Okoro and Inyang Ekwo, these two justices, these two Inyangs, they are destroyed. The other one is in the High Court, the other one is in Supreme Court. Inyang Okoro is there in the Supreme Court, waiting to cover INEC and cover APC and cover Hope Uzodimma. And Inyang Ekwo is in the High Court, which is at the tribunal level, waiting to do the same thing. I'm asking myself, where are these two brothers coming from? Why are they a threat to the Nigerian democracy? I don't know if people have noticed it. Inyang Okoro and Inyang Ekwo, the two Inyangs, I think both of them are from Cross River State. They are just there to do damage to our democracy. So it is worrisome, because when we say, hey, Nigerians mobilize to come and vote, no, Nigerians are ready to come and vote. I think we need to say, Nigerians do more than that. And I've been saying it right from more than 2 months ago, that it will not be a matter of coming to vote. It will be a matter of pulling unit agents to be 3. Number 1 is the one that is going to make sure that the vote is recorded. The other one will be the supporting person that will make sure that the recorded sheet is held safe. And the other one will have a camera videoing everything, because only God knows what is going to happen, how they plan to do it. There is a news item I saw today that shows that already some people are sewing law enforcement agents' uniform to wear to move around in Imo State tomorrow to harass people as if they are law enforcement agents. It did not start today. It's been happening. It's been happening. So let us go if we have some analysis to refer to. But it is good for us to have this background.
Yes, Doc, thank you very much. I'll be bringing up that again. I want us to just quickly listen to this video before we go to the next one that we have for tonight. Honestly, you can see that the governor of Imo State is afraid he might lose his position as the governor of the state, because he knows that the people have rejected him. He knows the people have rejected him. There's this video that has been on the internet since the morning hours, where he was telling the people that he's going to be bombing some areas in the state. That was during the Buhari's time, when the security problem was on at its peak. So it was like he's going to bomb, he's going to do this, he's going to threaten the people. And we know that why the security problem in Imo State skyrocketed was because he didn't handle it well. The management was very poor. He didn't know how to talk to these youths. He didn't know how to like sit them down as a father. And that led to what we saw in Imo State. I made mention of it as it got to a point or to a time when people would tell you that if you're in Imo, don't even wear black and black. If you're in Imo, don't go out in Owerri, don't go out at night. As in, I have somebody there that was always sending me photos, videos that look at what is happening in Imo State. Look at this is how Imo State is. And this man feels after all these things, the Imo people should still count him worthy of coming back for the second term. I don't think the Imo people, as if they don't have brain in their skulls. So these people, they just keep taking us for granted. So it appears he's already panicking. Yesterday, he came out to say that he will ask the NLC to forgive him because he's a Christian. At least if he has done anything, they should forgive him. Something. He was not even like tendering a real apology, as if he was being forced to do that. So honestly, we have these politicians who do not even have the good of the people at heart. And that is why there is no other option than to retire, especially somebody like Hope Uzodimma. Let's just listen to this.
The insecurity, and it's a big component of voter confidence, right? But the biggest letdown I see here is on the confidence people have on INEC as an entity. And in my own analysis, I believe that it will take INEC an upwards of 10 years to restore the confidence they so flippantly lost in 2023. And that's my own personal analysis, because you have to conduct at least 2 presidential elections to be able to convince the ordinary Nigerians that you are now ready for their
but I mean, it can be incremental.
Yes, so you take it
we've got this election coming up.
Yes.
And INEC is trying to put in confidence building measures. One of them is to say that if there is violence in a polling booth, a polling unit, we will not count the results in that polling unit.
It's interesting that they will say that, because in one of our studies, we found out something that is called selective application of violence. And what you call selective application of violence is, if I am a candidate running for office, I should be able to know where I should, do well in terms of polls. I also would be able to determine where I will not win the elections. And in that case, I can sponsor my people to go in those opposition strongholds to cause violence. And so if you have an INEC whose template is we will not count anywhere there's violence.
So we can go and disrupt the election
so
and then you won't count.
You're now encouraging politicians to do election.
Yeah,
that's what
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to me. And I said this again, that INEC has to be conscious and again, it's not just INEC now. What I've seen across Nigeria is this gradual decline in trust. And trust is a very big entity when you talk about societal cohesion. Whether you're talking about the judiciary, police, it's declining. And then when you get to that, you don't longer leave things to institutions to manage. I'll give you an instance. By 14 minutes past 1 p.m. on the presidential election, the February 25th, INEC, we are still recruiting ad hoc staff in Anambra State. And we have evidence to this. And so where you can't do the basic that we expect you to do, people have to now take an oversized interest in seeing and indeed policing INEC and other people to do their jobs. And this is where I invite Nigerians that we have to look at our laws. We have to look at participation. Gone are the days where you lay back and you expect the organizations to do their bits. Now you have to be involved in the process to make sure that even when you discover that they are not able to do their bit, that you encourage them and keep their feet to fire until they do that. Let me say this. I don't believe the people we have in positions of responsibility have the full appreciation of what people do when they vote. For instance, for a woman take any community in Mango local government of Plateau State, when they vote, they are not giving you just votes, they are giving you their lives. Because shortly after that election, herdsmen will attack. And they are looking at who do we call in the middle of the night that can save us. For the pregnant woman, they will go to the hospital and they will not find medical disposables. And for the other person, you might have accident on the road and you will find emergencies. So when people vote, they are giving you their blood, they are giving you their life. And so what INEC is counting is, to me, is not mere ballots. They are counting the blood and life and sacrifices and aspirations of a nation. And then anytime you tamper with that, it's a huge, huge letdown. You take this, for instance, our parents and your generation, of course, never really recovered from 1993. And after 1993, you saw a decline in civic participation. And 2023 was another watershed moment. And I don't expect to see decline in participation of young people, but it's beginning to happen in our conversations. And what I say to that is that we'll have to keep going at it until we're able to get to that place where votes count. As of today, it's unfortunate that people have to have this kind of discussions to talk about the confidence people have in the system. Because for instance, you take the risk and present yourself at the polling units. With all the insecurity, you know you stand a great risk of being injured, being harmed, being maimed, or even being killed. And then you still take that risk to come out and vote. And then after that voting, something happens along the way. It's not a good experience. And I encourage our policymakers to.
Yeah, Doc, I don't know what you've got to say about this. I think he has a very... He has so many vital points, in this statement.
He just telling us to our face, indeed, that the system is completely rigged. And the annoying thing is this. The annoying thing is that this is a premeditated, it's like a script. This thing is not as if, INEC is overwhelmed. They don't know how to, they know. Let me tell you something. INEC chairman is an intelligent person. INEC chairman made first class from, I think, Ahmad Bello University. He was sponsored to Cambridge and to Oxford, both for his master's degrees on scholarship and his PhD on scholarship. The man is from Bauchi State. He's an intelligent person. You see, every plan he had, he told us before election. You see the new Electoral Act that the Supreme Court have chosen, because now, let me tell you that this thing is orchestrated. The content of the Electoral Act as it is today is a beautiful piece of work. If only the Supreme Court had said, boom, the Electoral Act shall be as it is written and signed, the hands of INEC will be tied. But in order to keep a man that did not win, they decided to do what? Hit the gavel and say, we trash the content of the Electoral Act. But what happened is that the INEC chairman decided to say, okay, there's a beautiful piece of work in the Electoral Act. Even the legislatures themselves, if you remember, the former Senate president said, what we intended in our hearts, whether you call it transmission or transfer, is that from the point where you finish voting, a picture of the voting election result must be snapped and uploaded. That is what we intended. He said it with his mouth. In the case of Adeleke versus Oyetola, Supreme Court said, yes, that is what it should be. But this presidential election tumbled the whole thing. And it's like INEC chairman was told, don't worry, announce the result. Let us now exonerate you. Let the Supreme Court tell us whether the result you announced is okay, and whether the way you announced it is what will continue. Now, the Supreme Court has come and say, IRF, you have nonsense. Upload of the result to IRF, we don't recognize you. Beaver's verification is optional. So INEC chairman, having seen what the court has said, decided this day, anything you want. The court has given us approval. Anything we do, anything we say, they will honor. So you see that now INEC is there to do their bidding. The law enforcement agents have been deployed to ensure that anything someone APC in the wants to do through their man, like in the case of this Imo State, Uzodimma, anything you want to do, do it. The people who will eventually approved the result, Judiciary. They have done more damage for them in APC's favor, for Nigerians in APC's favor, and they will be waiting to keep on covering it. I told you in the last program we had, the Federal Government Girls College Old Girls Association, Federal Government Girls College Owerri, the Old Girls Association, they were supposed to do their reunion, 50 years reunion. They have booked the hotel in Imo State more than 1 year, more than 9 months, more than 6 months ago. They arrived last week and they couldn't check in because the government happened to have booked the whole hotel, validating the same old story we heard before. I mean, where do we start? Now, you see what this person is saying. INEC, knowing what the Electoral Act says. Electoral Act says anything that disrupts election, whether it is late arrival of electoral material, INEC's ad hoc staff not arriving early, violence, or even overvoting, the law says the result of that polling unit will be cancelled and rescheduled the next day. But INEC, you came publicly to say, if there is a violence, we will not count the vote. And since they made that statement, news houses have been calling them out. INEC have not deemed it fit to come and say, no, you people misunderstood us. We did not mean that we will not count it and go. We mean that we will not count that particular one. We will reschedule another one. INEC have sealed their lips on whether they will reschedule the election or not. That's to tell you that they plan what they will do. They will disenfranchise voters in the areas where Uzodimma is not popular by saying that there is violence there. They will go against the Electoral Act to do it, and the court will endorse it. That's the strategy.
Oh my God, Nigeria is really in a mess. So this was posted by Miss Professor Odinkalu. We all know him. He is a lawyer and also a prof. INEC workers in Imo told me IREF portal password has been removed. You can imagine. They told him, this is not somebody that can just come and make anyhow statements. This is coming from somebody that we know that when he speaks from facts and from reliable sources. So you can see what he's saying. So expect malfunctioning on Saturday. That's tomorrow. INEC is not still ready to fix things for the Nigerian people. This INEC, they are not ready, him and the people working under him. They are not ready to fix Nigeria. They don't want to allow this nation to move forward. Election is the only process that allows the people to decide who governs them. And you want to look at the people who are presenting themselves for these positions. You go for the best, the person you know will listen to you and attend to your needs. But do you see this INEC, especially the INEC chairman and the judiciary, they are the biggest problem we have in this country. Now, when elections are coming up, they will not come out to give people a clear cut of the guidelines. And even the much they will release to the public, they will still not follow it, like what happened during the presidential election, telling us that IREF will be used, transmission, real time, you will see it live, it's this and that. At the end of the day, they dropped it at the middle of the road. And the Supreme Court now told us that INEC has the power to decide whether at the dying minutes to change its mind. They can decide anything at any time. Nigerians, we are really in a big trouble, honestly, with this kind of country that people will rule and they don't have fear for anything. How the public will react, it does not concern them. It is really becoming worrisome, the way things happen in Nigeria. Because look at the Supreme Court judgment. So many people have come out to condemn it. And these people, they don't even feel bad. All of a sudden, that of Enugu has still come again. They've now said somebody who forged certificate didn't forge, and they are forcing the NYC to pay a fine and to like come out to a kind of let me say apologize. They should come out and say, oh, the certificate that was submitted by Mba was not issued by us. This is the NYC that came to court to tell the court that they never issued him this certificate, just like what happened in Chicago State University. They told us they didn't give the president the certificate is submitted to INEC. So what happened during the Supreme Court judgment? They didn't even go to that. They didn't touch it. You know, the one we talked about, the forfeiture, they didn't talk about it. And today, everything has died down. Nigeria has moved on. That's the kind of nation we have. And I think we can't just continue this way. But my joy is that Nigerians are getting to know that these people have held us hostage for a long time. I think this is the time for our emancipation. We must come out from this hook, from this cage, because things can't continue this way. So you can imagine INEC telling people that there are polling units we are not going to count. Anywhere there is violence, they can just come up and frame that there was violence in these polling units, areas they feel that they've lost. I mean, people in power that want to come back at all costs. They may just come out and say, oh, this polling unit, things didn't go well, so we don't need to count it. And INEC might dance to their tune. So we really have a very big problem. I just want us to look at the governorship candidates for the Labour Party in this upcoming election. In the person of Mr. Atan Achonu. I think he is, I've tried to like make little research about him. I think he is good to go. He's going to make a good governor. He's going to really help the people of Imo should we vote him in. And that's why I'm encouraging the Imolites. They should come out and ensure they vote for Mr. Atan Achonu. It's likely that Hope Uzodimma is going to lose this election. You know, the people who are supporting him are just following him for monetary gain. It's not as if he has impacted their lives positively. It's not as if they've seen anything that he has done for the people of Imo. They are just there to enjoy the money he's sharing, nothing else. We saw a group that said they are obedient. They are obedient for Hope Uzodimma, obedient now for APC. They take advantage of Peter Obi's supporters. They want to take advantage of anything, you know, at their own disposal. So you can see the desperation in them. But honestly, the people know who they want in this election. All we are just asking is for a free and fair election. I saw Mr. Mba, I think a former spokesperson for the police force. I saw him. He's one of the persons that will be on ground. I think with his person, I believe that there will be some level of transparency in the state. But don't forget that they might not be everywhere. Him himself will not be everywhere. We still have policemen who will be there, you know, to serve their own interests, not even the interests of the people. So they can just help Uzodimma. Don't forget that they just changed the commissioner of police, you know, recently, because he was dancing to the tune of the state governor. So the IGP did a good job to have. Doc, I can't hear you in case you are talking. I can't hear you.
Because people were screaming.
Yes,
because people were
there was
screaming.
this outrage,
IGP,
so they had to change it.
IGP
And
don't
also the REC, the INEC leader of the state, people have been asking INEC to change her. It's a woman, and she dances to the tune of the governor of the state. So like the Labour Party has been calling for her removal, but INEC paid deaf ear. So if the IGP could see the need to change the commissioner of police for Imo State, why not INEC changing the REC? This is a woman that has been helping Hope Uzodimma, and you know, by this time, you know, he must have bought everybody over. So people were like, change this woman. If you really want a transparent election, INEC paid deaf ears. So I don't even know how INEC is trying to clean up the mess, you know, that took place during the presidential election, if they are still going in this direction, because I expected them to use some of these elections that are coming up to like correct some of the wrongs that happened during the presidential election. But from the look of things, you can see that it appears they've not even realized that there was so much problems during the presidential election, which they have to start fixing. They've not come to that realization. So let me just play a video of Mr. Tan Achono, and then
before the video comes, let me put it this way. You're giving them credit by saying they have not realized. That's like to give them a leeway of escape. That's not the fact. I think the fact is that they don't care. They are doubling down. That is the way to say. That is to say they are doubling down means we have seen the impact and they work. Let's do it again because it's going to keep working. They are doubling down. The police commissioner was removed. Yes. The REC was retained because the REC's statement is going to be law. The moment the REC makes a statement, it becomes law. Only the law court will change it. And the law court is not planning to change anything. That's why they kept the REC. Because within 3 days, they may not trust anybody they could send there. And this particular REC, people fought against her all over the nation, and Buhari insisted she must be sent to Imo State, even though people knew she was a card-carrying member of APC and she was handpicked by Uzodimma. And the REC can only be removed by the president. And with all the outcry, the president could not remove her because the president don't care. That is it.
When they are even working towards having a one-party system in Nigeria, because it appears that's what they just want, to like capture everywhere. I think that's just the strategy, because I can't imagine them hearing this outcry, people talking about all this and what is going on in Imo State, and nobody is talking. I mean, the presidency, nobody's like reacting. Nothing is just happening in Nigeria. This was one of the challenges we had during the time of Buhari. It appeared as if we didn't even have a president. The same thing is happening now. You know, so many things has happened, and we expected this president to act differently from the way Buhari handled the Nigerian people. At least come out to condemn some of the things that are happening in the nation. See how the NLC chairman was malhandled in the states, and nobody deemed it necessary to come out and condemn that. You rather see people like Mr. What's his name again? The spokesperson for the presidency, saying on Twitter that the NLC chairman is promoting his interests and the interests of a particular party that he supports. You can imagine. So assuming
that was the truth. Assuming that was the truth. So that warrants him being brutalized. That's the way the reason. Okay, let's just say, oh yes, he was promoting his own personal interest. Does that warrant him being brutalized? Do you see the mindset of the people we're dealing with? Go ahead, please.
Oh, Nigeria. Nigeria is just something else.
Effort, pertinacious resistance to failure, and blessed life lived in service to others. Born in 1959 to the family of Chief Sir T.E.O. Achono MFR and Norma Lady Martha Achono of blessed memory, he is the sixth child of 8 children. His late father, Chief T.E.O. Achono, was a family man, community leader, educationist of repute, politician, and a nationalist who played key roles in the political and socio-economic development of Old Mbano Division, where he served as chairman. He was responsible for some of the policies and projects that.
So all that are out is to loot, and go and stash it in foreign lands. Do you understand me? So they're not encouraging investors to come in. They don't. If you come to invest, they will fight you so that you don't endear yourself. They think you're coming to run for governor, so you don't endear yourself to your people. That's what is happening in Igbo land. It's only in Anambra that they have succeeded. In Nnewi axis, they are now building factories, bringing their investments. So look at Enoson. There's so many other investors. You know, look at Kocharis. Look at the farm he's building. So many other people I don't know about. I hear they're doing a lot in Anambra now. So we have to do that in Imo. During Jonathan, I approached Jonathan. I said I wanted to take over Imo Cargo Airport, to internationalize it, to make it a cargo hub. That time, Hope was chairman aviation. I tried to ask him for his help to support that move. That move didn't succeed. You know, I met with the minister. The minister told me that she was refurbishing the airports at that time, and they can not concession it at that time, and that I had to wait until the concessioning was over. I remember asking her, taking a jab at her when we were in the Senate together about the airport and what the losses, what we would have achieved by then, I have an investment of almost 9 billion here now. I tried to build a Radisson Hotel in Owerri. Rochas blocked that one. And I tried to build the biggest mall in Africa, in where Imo State, Imo Hotels used to stand. Rochas came and built a road in the middle. But I said, okay, fine. I'll still build my hotel, build the mall there, and then build something else across the river. And use the bridge to cross, an overhead flyover to connect the two locations. I just got a judgment in court that everything Rochas built there is null and void. And I hope Uzodimma should pay me 100 million in damages. He sought for a stay of execution. It was thrown out. Till today, he has not paid that 100 million. He has not come for us to settle because the plan is that, okay, the judgment I wanted us to separate since government doesn't want to partner with me. Let them give me my 60% share of the property. You understand? And take their 40. Up to today, he has not obeyed that court order. And he is a product of a court order. Hope Uzodimma came forth according to INEC records. Supreme Court made him governor. And he's sitting there. He's serving out a 4-year term because of a court order. And he can't obey court order. What we have packaged for Imo State is unbelievable. Investments will flow in. I've already packaged several. I have so many people who are willing to come. We'll have a Silicon Valley here. Igbo land, as a matter of fact, not Igbo, Igbo land in general. Because Alex Oti, my brother, is in Abia State. So together, if by the grace of God, other governors come that are of, have the same orientation, have the same vision like we do, you will see what will happen in Igbo land. Akurulo is for Igbos to come home and invest. And as Alex is here, I'm sure already so many investors are flocking to Abia State. So when I take over here, the same thing will happen. The Akurulo, I'm leading by example. I have a farm. I have a farm in Abuja that has 50 greenhouses. And then with present capacity, we produce 150,000 catfish every month. We are going to double it to 300. Yeah, under the spirit of Akurulo, I have a farm here, sprawling farm. We are developing capacity now to produce 1 million catfish every month. We have 260 greenhouses. We are right now, as I'm speaking to you, we're producing bell peppers, tomatoes, jalapenos, and then beetroots. That's what we're producing now. We want to move into, because we have not deployed all the greenhouses, we're still building them, planting them. Imo Gov is there on site now. So we still have mushrooms, we have grass cutter farm, we have a capacity for 5,000 cattle. Stockade capacity, and we're breeding native cows, Ehi Igbo, the Muturu. We are going to crossbreed them with the Ndama and the White Fulani. So we have a laboratory, world standard laboratory at the local.
Senator Ethan Achono.
Yes, Doc. Honestly, for me, I think this is the best candidate for the people of Imo State. This man is so creative. You could hear it from his voice, He has itemized some of the things that he will be doing for the Imo people. And I think we can't afford to miss this opportunity. I think he's really the perfect match for that position. Instead of going for somebody like Hope Uzodimma, who has been there for close 4 years, and we can't see any significant thing that he has done for the people of Imo State. Rather, the people of Imo are leaving Imo State. People are leaving, especially our youths. They are leaving. I have my own relative there, my close relative, who is there, a young boy, and he will tell me that there is nothing happening, even when he's walking, that nothing is happening in the state, that he just feels like living. So you can imagine what others are going through. There is a lot happening in Imo State. I mean, negatively happening in Imo State, and we've got to fix that. I just hope that the more people will see the need for a change in governance this time around. So for those watching us, let's ensure we encourage our people to go out and vote for the Labour Party. This man is just like Oti, and you could hear him say, he said, what Oti will be working in Abia while he will be working in Imo. And then other governors from the southeast who also, have the same mind like them, they will all come together to build a better Igbo land. You've seen the investment he's making in his place. He has really invested a lot of money. I heard he built roads and so many other things that he did for his community.
Come. Let me ask you a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Assuming he's not good, assuming this man is not qualified, assuming that he's not telling us the truth, under normal circumstance, do you think that any sane Imo citizen will vote Hope Uzodimma, even if the other people were known to not be credible enough? Do you think Imo people will say the devil we know is better than the angel we don't know, so let us vote Hope Uzodimma for second term? Do you think it is possible? Hope Uzodimma's governorship came from the background of a lot of controversies, bad governance, insecurity, lack of development, unemployment, everything. that will make Imo people to say, the devil we don't know is better than this one that is claiming to be an angel. So let's not talk about this man. Indeed, what he said is true, and I agree. I have followed his own antecedents in terms of investment. I've followed this man right from before the presidential election. And amongst all the people that were coming out for Labour Party's position, I was wishing that he eventually get the mandate. That is right from before the presidential election. In one of the support groups we held, I remember that he came to speak to us here over here. But I am saying, assuming that he's not good enough as he claimed, which I know he's far much more. When he was talking about OT, he was talking about OT and this Akuru law before he became the candidate of Labour Party. Then he was saying, if OT wins and he does well, which means he knew that if OT wins, he will do well. And now OT has won and he's doing well. Meaning that his forecast about the Abia State governor has come to a reality. But those things, does it matter to INEC? Does it matter to the people who will benefit from any bad governance? Nigerians will always come out. What we're doing here tonight, we're not encouraging people to come out to vote. It is biting them. You don't need to beg more people to come out. You don't need to beg those workers that Hope Uzodimma did not pay. Those workers that the Labour NLC president came to fight for before he was beaten blue and black. Remember that even the Labour NLC president is from Imo State. He's an Imo State indigene. You don't need to tell those people to come and use their thumbs to vote out the man that is bringing them this pain. We are here to talk. When they have eventually marshaled out, will that their wishes be respected by the judiciary, by the law enforcement agents, and by the thugs that they will mobilize? That's what we're talking. We're not talking if people will come to vote. Because I can tell you that a man like Hope Uzodimma, an APC in Imo State, his own child won't vote for him. You remember during the second term election in 2019 of Buhari, he voted and he was peeping into his wife's own vote to be sure that the wife voted for him, meaning he did not even trust that his wife would vote for him. Come on, that's what we're talking here this night. This is what we're talking. Nigerians are going to be out tomorrow. Let me put it this way. I am not a fan of Senator Dino Melaye. I'm not saying that he's a bad person, but I can't take him for his promise. But I will vote for 1 million Dino Melaye than what they are trying to impose on the people of Kogi State. Am I making a point here? Because the worst of Dino Melaye is going to be better than the best and best. Let me borrow this English. Best test, if there's anything like that, than the best test of APC in Kogi State. Are you getting my logic now? Mm-hmm. Because APC in Kogi State is a curse to the people. Is it not in the same Kogi State that the senator from APC, who was a member of House of Representatives and who is now Chairman Senate Committee on Services, is telling us that it is only a Land Cruiser that is capable of driving from Abuja to Kogi? That is one of the closest states that borders FCT. And it was under APC for 8 years. And this same APC man is trying to bring his own cousin to take over. I am not Senator Dino Melaye's man. If I have my options and I am in Kogi State, I won't vote him. But given what we have in Kogi State, I will vote, if I am in Kogi State, I will vote Senator Dino Melaye 1 million times before I vote APC. But who cares Does the police who will stand and encourage thugs to go and unleash mayhem, do they care? Remember that in Lagos governorship election, Channels television camera and their staff were brutalized in the presence of the police, law enforcement agents. And when they appeared in court, the judges will say, we didn't see nothing, hear nothing. Whatever INEC says is what we take. We are here this night to say, it will be on the conscience of every man and woman that makes it impossible for the will of the people not to happen in Imo State tomorrow. The people have a will. They know what they will do. They are mobilized. But will they be allowed? That's what we're here to say. And on that note, I say to Nigerians, let's pray for Nigeria. I am not from Imo State. I am not from Kogi State. I am not from Bayelsa State. But those places are Nigeria. At least one thing I believe, despite everything we are doing, even in Lagos, they are chasing people of a certain ethnic out of Lagos. But if we have a good government in any state in Nigeria, it doesn't matter where you come from, that place will benefit you. One good state in Nigeria, well-governed state in Nigeria, is a loss to the impunity we are suffering in Nigeria. Today in Abia State, whether you're from Bayelsa or from Sokoto, whether you're from Maiduguri or from Kwara or from Anambra or from Oyo State, if you live today and do business in Abia State, you're benefiting directly. And your own local state is benefiting indirectly because the profit you make from transacting business in Abia State, you will use it to send stipends to your loved ones in Oyo State, or in Kwara State, or in Osun State, or in Delta, or in Sokoto, or in Maiduguri. So one well-governed state in Nigeria benefits all Nigerians. That's my own theory. That is why we stand here and we scream. Any little opportunity we see, because one well-governed state in Nigeria is going to be a dilution to the toxic thing we're witnessing all over Nigeria. And I pray that tomorrow adds one more state to the good state. Abia State is the leading light today. May Imo State benefits tomorrow. May Kogi State get a little relief. May Bayelsa, one of the richest states in Nigeria, also get something to speak for. Good night, Nigerians. Tomorrow evening, we'll see if we can hear what is happening. If the result is not published earlier, that tells you something fishy is happening. You know how it happens. But we pray it won't be so. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, our viewers, for joining us. We encourage you to go out and cast your vote tomorrow. And if you have people in these states, please encourage them to vote for the Labour Party. We look forward to a new Nigeria. So I want to say a very big thank you for your presence in today's night live show. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can push it out for more people to watch, and also subscribe to the channel. We need your support. Don't forget to click on the notification bell for future updates. With this, I want to say a very big thank you for joining us tonight. Let's meet again tomorrow. Good night and God bless you. Bye.